Hear, O Israel.
It says, hear, O Israel, not hear everybody, right? Every Christian should be out here reading along and trying to understand. Maybe you never heard this before. Maybe there's some scriptures that you never heard.
Right.
Which it's going to be scriptures that you never heard. Want to know why? Because your pastor's been lying to you your whole life. The Christian church and the Catholic church has been lying to you your whole life. Scoot over here a little bit. Your whole life. Keep going.
The Lord our God.
The Lord who?
The Lord our God.
It says, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God. Not the Lord God of everybody. Right? Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, which is a possessive pronoun. It's a possessive word. Our. If I said this is our signs, then it's not everybody's sign. It's ours. Keep going, huh?
Is one Lord.
Is what?
One Lord.
It says our God is one Lord.
You wanted me to relieve?
Our God is one Lord. We were the first people on the planet with the understanding of one God. Before Christians came, before the Abrahams came, we were the first people to understand about one God and one God only. Right? Keep going.
Verse 30.
Verse 30. Keep going.
And thou shalt love the Lord.
Thou shalt do what?
Thou shalt love the Lord.
It says, first it said, hear, O Israel, our God, our Lord is one. Now it said that we should love the Lord. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, this is what the Lord requires of us, to love the Lord. Now let's see how to love the Lord. You know what I want, 1 John 5 and 3. Hold that. Hold that and give me 1 John 5 and 3. Right? It says it's to love the Lord, right? Now let's see how to love the Lord here in this Bible. This is this is in the New Testament. We haven't left the New Testament yet. We're going to stay in the New Testament. That's what we're going to do. Why? Why should we stay in the New Testament? Because all the Christians are going to say, well, the Old Testament is done away with. Who did away with that? Who did away with that? Your Christian pastor did away with that because he wants to molest your children and sleep with your wives. That's all they do. That's all they want to do. That's why when you go for counseling with a Christian pastor, he wants to counsel you separate from your wife. Keep going on. Go ahead.
This is the book of 1 John, chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of God.
Right. Wow. I bet you didn't know this was in the Bible. For all the Christians, I bet you didn't know this is in the Bible. He said, this is how you love God. This is the love of God. It's damn near definition. Keep going.
That we keep his commandments.
How do you love God?
Keep his commandments.
No, you go give the Lord a big hug.
Keep his commandments.
You can give God a kiss and a purse.
Keep his commandments.
That's how you love the Most High. You love the Most High by keeping his commandments. That's it. You keep his laws. That's the only way you can show you love the Most High. You can't go give the Most High a hug. Your arms are too short to go hug the Most High. You can't give the Most High a kiss. Yeah. You can't do what you want to do and then say he loves my heart. But you can do this.
Keep his commandments.
That's what you can do. Start that over from the top.
This is the book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God.
Right?
That we keep his commandments.
That we keep his commandments. Black man, Hispanic man, Native American man, this is for you. That we do what?
That we keep his commandments. And his commandments are not grievous.
And his commandments are not grievous. It's not hard not to be an adulterer. It's not hard to not worship other gods. It's not hard not to hurt your brother and murder your brother. That's not hard. Why can't we do it? Because nobody's enforcing it. Nobody's even teaching this except the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. But this is in the New Testament. Now go back to Mark chapter 12. Now we understand what the definition of love is, right? Let's get back to verse 30.
Verse 30. And this is the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 30. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God.
You love the Lord by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. Go ahead.
With all thy heart.
With what?
With all thy heart.
Now, when the Lord said heart, it's meaning mind. You know what I mean? Because your heart don't do anything but pump blood. It's just an organ that pumps blood. When you feel something and you think you love something, you're doing that with your mind. All those feelings come from the stimulants in your brain, right? So when it says heart, it meaning your mind. Everything you do, you should be thinking about the Most High and the judgments that can come from if you don't do it right. Keep going.
And with all thy soul.
And with what?
All thy soul.
Keep going.
And with all thy mind.
And with all thy mind. Keep going.
And with all thy strength.
And with all thy strength. Keep going.
This is the first commandment.
Right, that's the first commandment. And are these letters red?
What kind of sir?
Now, what does that mean when the letters are red? That means Christ is speaking. Right? That means Christ is speaking. Why don't you want to hear what Christ has to say? Because Christ is not giving you any feel good to where you can do whatever you want to do. Christ is telling you the same thing that every prophet in the Bible has told you. And that is keep the Lord's laws, statutes, and commandments. This is in the New Testament. Keep going.
Verse 31. And the second is like, namely this.
It says, so now the second commandment is likely, namely this.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor.
You should do what?
Love thy neighbor.
You should love thy neighbor. Right? So I've been telling you this, right, the whole time. That the Bible, right, the Bible's been telling you that Israel this, Israel that. I think Israel's in the Bible about 14,450 times. Right? So it says, love thy neighbor. Your neighbor must be Israelites, right? Let me ask you a question. If the majority of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans live in the hood, right, and the barrios and the reservations, right? Who's your neighbor when you live in the ghettos and the barrios and the reservations? Isn't it another Israelite? Isn't it another black, Hispanic, or Native American brother? Am I right or am I wrong? Right? In the ghetto, in the project buildings in Harlem, right? They also have a what? A Spanish Harlem. Right? Where other Hispanic people live. Those are the projects in Harlem. Right? Out here in San Antonio, right? They have the east side, they have the west side. Right? Who lives there? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Not everybody, man, but go to Stone Oak. Who lives in Stone Oak? So-called white man. Lives in the nice places. Right? So everybody is not your neighbor. But, here I gotta prove it. Give me Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Here we are. We have to prove it now. Here we go. We're still in the Bible. You've heard more Bible scriptures today than you ever heard in church. And yes, it's from a black man. Black men, black, Hispanic, and Native American men. Yes, we know the Bible. Yes, we read the Bible. Yes, we can read. This is not slavery anymore. We can read for ourselves. You got that? Yeah, keep going.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
It says you shouldn't hate your brother in your heart. Right? Why should you want to hate your brother? Why should you want to hate your brother? You shouldn't hate your brother. You should love your brother. Right? When you see your brother going through a tough time, you should try to pick him up and help him out. Or unless we're all Christians, and you know how much Christians hate to help people. Y'all know that. When somebody goes through something in the Christian and Catholic church, they get to talking about him. Oh, you know, Sister Johnson then did this and did that. And you know her son failed this and failed that. He lost his job, girl. Nobody helps anybody. Because they're all selfish. Keep going.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
In any wise, you should correct your neighbor. You should correct your neighbor. When your neighbor start going off and doing this and doing that, things that he shouldn't do, you should bring it out the law to him. But the only way you can bring out the law is if you study. Only place that's bringing out the law and that's going to give you the right study ways and the right study material is here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under Commanding General Yohanan. That's it. Nowhere else. You've been doing a Christian church. You've been doing Islam, right? You've been doing everywhere else. You've been in the Catholic Church. You've been Seventh-day Adventist. You've been non-denomination, whatever it's called. You've been non-denomination. Did everything. But one thing you haven't did was tried the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. That's the one thing you haven't did. That's the one thing that hasn't been done yet. Why don't we give that a try?
Nobody tell you cry. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you a black man like me. And it works something.
My whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, sold packs, I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues, call this guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good wreck. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good shepherd. Plus when you in hell, how do you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I don't believe in fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord?